Rockstar Gang, what up, what up? Appreciate everyone in here. Join the live stream. Welcome on into yet another episode of the Rockstar Report. Of course, as always, your host, Clay Ropp. And I appreciate y'all being in here today. Happy Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, and the weekend's almost here. And we have Carolina Panther football, 1 p.m. Saturday afternoon. And if you don't think I'm not cracking up a cold one while I'm watching that game, you're dead wrong. Definitely will have a nice little cocktail while I'm watching that game. Probably gonna have, maybe I don't know. I don't know what food we're gonna be doing, but of course, we'll be chopping it up. But yeah, the joint practice today with the Houston Texans was fire. And that's no pun intended between the Heat there in Houston. And of course, the fact that we got to see Bryce Young with his former, I guess you could say at this point his best friend, right? I mean, CJ Stroud and him basically been playing football together for what? I don't even know how long it's been for the between the two, but it's been a long time, right? But yeah, so Dave Canales asked for the intensity and he got it, especially in this one. I felt like from the updates from our beat reporters on X, again, if you're not on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, if you're not on there, I don't know what you're doing. I literally have no idea what you're doing if you're not on X or Twitter, especially if you're a Carolina Panthers fan. Like, what are you doing? Because you're not going to get any updates on you can't be there in person. I mean, you could have been at the Texans joint practice probably, but you couldn't be at you can't be at the Carolina Panthers training camp. So but it is what it is. But according to the mercury, it hovered around the low 90s by mid-morning, and the humidity made it feel like the Gulf Coast had relocated to basically Houston. So Canales was clear that this wasn't about comfort. If you listen to him speak, it was about preparing. Obviously, it's continuing preparing for week 1, right, in Jacksonville, where the swamps don't forgive soft bodies or weak focus. You know how it is down there in Florida. But not everything went as planned. A stretch in the middle of practice saw the Panthers accumulate a cluster of pre-snap penalties that pushed them into like 1st and 15 situations and 2nd and 20 situations. And Canales didn't mince words on that. He did come out and say that fatigue and lack of focus, that's on us, that they need to fix. He also quoted saying that we have to fight through exhaustion. We have to maintain focus play after play, regardless of what the last play looked like. The penalties piled up when we were tired, and that's unacceptable. So outside of that section, the offense performed well against the Texans for the most part, at least from the updates I was seeing. That has consistently been strong, winning 10 games in each of the last 2 seasons, right? And they've been capturing back-to-back AFC South titles. Canales was especially focused on this offensive units, which ended practice with 2 clean red zone drives. Bryce hit Tre'von Sanders, and Andy Dalton found Hunter Renfrow for score. So Canales even came out and said that he liked the finishes. Games can get ugly in the middle. It's how you rebound that matters, and our guys showed that they can finish, and that's who we are. So some good stuff there. Let me pull up some. Let me get some of this context out to you here. Hold on one second. I got to find my starting point where I want to be with you guys on this. Give me a second. Where are we at? Where are we at? Give me a second, chat. Give me a second, chat. Share screen over here. Trying to pull up stuff for you guys. I had a starting point, but I don't know what happened to it. Well, first off, start off with the fact that Jalen Coker did not practice today. Due to being the fact that he was having some illness. That's what at least I was told. At least from Mike K came out and said that. I'm trying to see where I wanted to start from, but it was like because there's so much. We'll just start from the bottom. Fuck it. Well, I had a section of this stuff I wanted to go over, but we'll start with the Jalen Coker thing. So Jalen Coker had an illness. He ended up staying behind back at the hotel, according to Joe Persons, Carolina Blitz, and Mike K. Shout out to all of them. They were the first three to really put it out there. But Jalen Coker didn't practice due to some type of illness. We're not sure. He stayed back at the hotel. And then some other news and I think it was from Carolina Blitz. Tre'von Wallace was not out there either. But he did end up arriving mid practice and but did not participate due to some personal matters. Some other news, we have that usual rehab group, which they were working on the sidelines like Zavala and Tommy Trimble, Claudine Churlis, and rookie defensive tackle Cam Jackson work separately. And then you also had today rookie Nick Squarton, who is a Houston native, by the way, was sidelined mid-practice due to heat exhaustion. So the trainers rushed him over to into that cooling trailer. They tried to give him some IV fluids from what my understanding is, and they kept him off the field. But yeah. And then, of course, J.C. Horn. This was the signal he gave coming in. Shout out to Carolina Blitz for this clip right here. Thumbs down. So basically saying that, he remained out with stitches for that thumb injury. We all know that he sustained, last week in that car accident. He's unlikely to play in Saturday's preseason game up to this point. Good news is that Robert Hunt was back on the field today. So that is some good news. Robert Hunt was back on the field today. You see him here jogging. So he is back on the field. Flame for Jesus just gifted 10 memberships. Shout out to Flame for Jesus. Thank you, Flame for Jesus. Thank you for blessing the channel with that. I greatly appreciate it, my friend. Shout out to you. Appreciate you, Flame for Jesus. Dadgum, we got a lot of people. Dang. So Brandon Hollum got a membership. Broski Bear got a free membership. Mike Wen, Zaire Kefa, Sean Hum, and Nuke for Real. T. Thompson was gifted. Ken 88, Big Wall, and Shane H. was all gifted a membership because of Flame for Jesus. So shout out to him. I saw DB out there too, so that's good news. Yep, Brandon King, he was back out there. Flame for Jesus then sends a $5 donation saying, well, everyone, I hope you all are having a blessed week. Flame for Jesus, thank you, and I hope you're having a blessed week as well. Again, another $5 donation. Shout out to Flame for Jesus again for that.
Another one.
Appreciate you, Flame for Jesus. Appreciate you. All right, let's get into some more news. Let's break some stuff down. So the defense, they were hunting the football today. The Panthers defense went hunting, man. Let me see if I can pull up some clips for you, because I will tell you they had a good day. We're also gonna give a nice. I'm about to give a nice shout out to all my. I'm gonna go to some plays here. So here's some good plays, good run stuff by Shaitel DJ Wanu. Here's the play right here. So the Panthers defense went hunting against this Texans offense all day. Turnovers were the objective. The team delivered. Chris Barnes, that new addition linebacker, we all know, jumped in front of a pass from Davis Mills early in team drills. I'm trying to see if I have found that clip anywhere. I know there's a clip somewhere of it. This is a sack. I don't know if we can tell who that is. I can't tell who got the sack there. Let me see. I can't tell. Looked like Pat. I think it was Pat Jones, because I'm pretty sure today Pat Jones had 2 sacks on the day, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Pat Jones with himself had his second sack of the day. So 2 sacks by Pat Jones, but Chris Barnes making some plays out there. Like I said, jumped in front of a pass early on against Davis Mills. Here's the first team series of 4. Play 1 was a sack. CJ Stroud to Nico Collins, 10 yards. Stroud, 2 yards. Incomplete. Ashawn Robinson batted down the line of scrimmage. Nick Chubb, 3-yard run, incomplete. So that was the first team series of 4. As you can see, Panthers have now gotten multiple sacks. So the defense was hunting the ball today. You know, Mike Jack had an interception by a Stroud pass in the red zone drill. I have a clip of that. Give me a second here. Let's see. Let me see if I can find the interception. Here it is. Slow motion. CJ Stroud. Here comes Roseboom coming in with pressure. And then you see him lofted up. And then, yeah, well, there's Mike Jack right there catching it. I know that's a tough angle. Let me see if I find a better angle of it. Here we go. Here's a better angle of it. Here's a better angle of the interception. Let's see what we can do here. Turn that volume down. Well, I don't know. I don't think it volume. Yep, Mike Jack in the end zone. Let's watch that again. Mike Jack in the end zone on this interception. So huge play from. All right, so this is the red zone drill that they're running here. CJ Stroud throws it up. And it's picked off by Mike Jack. A great play by Mike Jack there. Mike Jackson making some plays in that red zone. Nick Scott ended up getting mossed. But then the crazy part is, hold on. And I'm going to find the update on it. Give me a second here. Bear with me. Well, here we go. Again, some more sequences. Defenses 2s versus Texans. Lathan Ransom with a big tackle on run defense at the line of scrimmage. Again, Chris Barnes. They said it, from my understanding, it wasn't a pickoff, but maybe it was. And then John Radigan sniffs out a screen for a loss. So defense, see the defensive 2s are stepping up. That was one of the biggest things that I want to see going forward into this, and I'll break that down more when we do the preview and prediction of the Houston Texans game tomorrow. But that's what I want to see going forward. I want to see these twos, how these backups, twos and threes do, especially on this defensive line. Not as much in the secondary as I'm worried about, but really with this defensive line in that run game. Again, the key here for Carolina this year is I need to make sure that if any of our guys go down, we have guys who can step up, right? No matter the talent, guys that can step up and still produce, right? That production on the field. Even if, any of these guys, God forbid, go down, knock on wood. But, that's going to be one of my big concerns is how these backups do, going forward throughout the preseason and these training in the rest of training camps and practices. I really want to see these guys step up, especially in the run game, because against Cleveland, we did not do very well against the run. Secondary, I'm okay with. Secondary can get a little bit better, right? We let some plays go, but that's all I'm saying. XL stepping up, that's what I want to see. There we go, Palmetto Panther. There's my guy. I'm waiting for the first 4 games to make any evaluations. Fair enough. Flame for Jesus. Fair enough. Here's another angle of the Mike Jack play. So Mike Jack, interception on CJ Stroud. Boom. Looked like they were trying to go for a crosser there or I don't know what the guy was running across the field. It looks like he was going to Higgins. Whoever 13 is that Higgins or Noel? Might have been Jalen Noel. But yeah, I mean, again, shout out to Flame for Jesus, by the way, with that $5 donation. I mean, he is just killing it. I appreciate it.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
He's just killing it with the $5 donos, by the way. Shout out to Flame for Jesus. Nick Scott had another pick by batting a ball in the end zone, catching it himself. So, according to Tre'von Moehrig, he said the energy was high, guys flying to the ball. We made plays and stayed physical. Outside linebacker, again, Pat Jones added. Any red zone pick is huge. It's confidence for the whole unit. So, again, it's good news to see that our defense was stepping up, our secondary making some plays. Even though, Nick Scott, I don't think anybody in this in Panthers land is very big on Nick Scott, obviously. See, obvious. I didn't know Rock commented this until now, but he made plays. He made a play today. Well, see, that's crazy. Tre'von Moehrig with the biggest hit of the day, drilled Xavier Hutchinson after catch across the middle. Texans didn't appreciate it, did almost start a scruffle. But then the very next play, CJ Stroud with a touchdown pass to Christian Kirk over Nick Scott. So, but then Nick Scott also, had an interception. So CJ Stroud had to get him back, I guess. So I don't know, man. There's some good, then there's some bad, but there was some good. So, but we did get a closer look, if you think about it, with these guys, man. Like, for example, with this right here, we got some closer looks with these guys, especially with the linebacker depth, because of course we didn't have Trevor Wallace on the field today due to those personal issues. So EJ got closer look at this linebacker depth. You got to see guys like John Radigan and Thomas Income. Those guys from reports were saying that they took early reps with the first team. And then, of course, Bam Martin Scott alongside them as well filled in. So Canales confirmed Wallace will play. By the way, everyone, Wallace will play Saturday, with the in the preseason game. In the preseason game. So nothing to worry there. Nothing to worry there. He will play in the preseason game. Shout out to everybody in the chat, all 42 of you, whether you're watching on X, YouTube, or Twitch. By the way, we are live on Twitch now. So shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys coming through, join the live stream, and just pound that. All I ask is you pound the like button, hit that subscribe button. That's all I ask. I greatly appreciate it. So if you're watching on other platforms, the best way you can show your support is by coming over to the YouTube channel. But I appreciate it. Appreciate any love and support wherever you are watching. All right, let's move on to a couple more things I want to go over. So from my understanding, there were some reports out there that that the Texans fans were predictably hostile towards like Panthers players, which I'm not surprised. Running back Tre'von Hubbard played it up and raising his arms and taunting the crowd. So it's funny because there was a report that came out that said that a fan mistook Christian Roseboom and John Radigan for Adam Thielen, screaming for the veteran wideout. And Roseboom depanned to Radigan, saying no, just the other white guy, leaving the fan unfulfilled. So, but some international talent today got some looks too. Linebacker Mapalo Mwansa, who is I want to find it here. I was trying to find the thing, but an English exchange student in the NFL's international player pathway forced a fumble on kickoff coverage. Mwansa only started playing football about a year ago and was moving into inside linebacker due to his size because he's 6'2", 230, and special teams are his best bet for impact. But this play was a promising start for him. So, we'll see what happens with him. Some other concerns though. Again, Nick Scorton, health issues. We'll see how that goes. But there was guys out there making plays, man. I mean, I love the fact that Pat Jones and these guys were out there. Pat Jones getting 2 sacks. That's great to see him getting some burn out there. The only thing I'll take away from today's thing is that we've got to be better in the penalty. We have a penalty problem. Like, if there's one thing I know that Canales can't tolerate, and if you listen to it, it's the pre-snap penalties. Like, and the offense had a string of them today. So, from reports at one point there were 5 in quick. There were 5 in quick succession where they were killing drives before they even started. So, adding a couple of sacks on Young, and that frustration was obvious. So, Canales came out and said that, you can't win from 1st and 15 all day, right? And Canales said if you're a repeat offender, you won't play, and it's that simple. So, again, we've got to narrow down the penalties from the offensive line and the pre-snap. So hopefully going forward we can make that happen. I think some of you guys will think this is some good news. Mitchell Evans was making some burn today. He did get some burn today. Let me see if I can find some highlights for you guys besides I think this was Tremaine. Actually, this was Tremaine. Or no, this is what's his name? This is Bryson Tremaine. Apparently he had multiple catches today as well. And also Thomas Income had a sack today. Forgot. He had a clean shot on CJ Stroud. So watch this. Watch Bryson Tremaine. Bam. Look at the guy. Bryson Tremaine making some plays out there, man. Very underrated. Let's see. This was Bryce to Rico Daddle. Was that a touchdown? I'm assuming so because Robert Hunt's celebrating. So there you go. What else we got? Of course, with a bunch of Alabama reunions, reunion with oh, here's the T-Mac play. Hold on, let me get it. Boom. Tutty. Oh, by the way, for all you Xavier Legette haters out there, because you guys got to be in shambles after this play. You guys got to be in shambles after this play. You wanted this guy. You know, that's another thing. With Jalen Coker out sick, guess who got more targets? Xavier Legette. Now, he did have a false start, but then he redeems himself with this type of catch. Get you some. Shout out to the Robinator. Appreciate that, Broski Bear. Broski Bear. James, yep. You got to give some thanks to that. Bryce actually resembled a quarterback on that play. Oh, yeah? What play was that? Or what quarterback did he resemble? Broski? I think I got some more highlights for you guys. Give me a second here. Of course, you got CJ and them chopping it up. I think Carolina Blitz, by the way, shout out to Vashti because she's out there. We're probably going to have her on the show at some point. Vashti, I'm trying to get some of these beat writers to come out here. Let's see. This was what I was talking about. Pat Jones was talking about that energy. Let's hear this out real quick because I wanted to. Brandon King says his XL is going to be legit. Yeah, absolutely. But I told y'all, man, like even, you know, this was the thing the sack thing was huge today. That's all I'm going to say. Like the sack thing was the fact that this defense is getting after the quarterback, you know, and we're making plays in the secondary. That's what you want to see. You know?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, go out there and hit people. That's the type of person I want to play with.
Is that part of Canales' when he said we're going to be a team that other people don't want to play? Does that feed into that mentality?
Yeah, we're going to be physical for sure. We definitely going to come hit you too. So you better get ready for sure. Yeah.
I love hearing him talk. Let's see. This was about the hit, and I'll play the clip about the hit.
Were you surprised there wasn't? I mean, there was
a
pain reaction by them, but not crazy. I didn't see anyone take that swing at you.
I didn't think that way.
What are you trying to say?
I mean, I wasn't too worried about it. You know, I got my boys behind me too, so I wasn't too stressed about it.
And this is the hit. That I don't know if you can see it in this clip because I've only watched this clip from my phone, so. And I really couldn't see it from my phone. I don't know if it's going to be any better from this. Oh, damn. Yeah, you can see it. I mean, he gave him. I mean, it wasn't even that big of a hit. It was more like a. It was more like a shove. A little shoulder bump. And it ain't. They act like he took the guy's head off. Let's see if we got any. Oh, here we go. We got some footage. So shout out to Carolina Blitz over there for, you know, giving us a little something, you know what I mean? To feel like we're actually involved in there. You know? So being Young and Stroud may be, you know, another thing is like, I'm glad that we're doing this. I'm glad that wasn't 91 Kevin Green's number. Shouldn't that be retired? I don't think they've retired his number. That's a good question, but I don't think they've retired his number. I don't think they've retired his number. Because he was only in Carolina for like 3 seasons, which is wild. And on the back end of his career, like at 37, you know what's crazy? At 37, the guy had 12 sacks. It's funny that you say that. I have mad Panther knowledge. I can see that. I don't think they retired his number. I could be wrong, but see, he only played 3 seasons there. 1996 was which was one of his best seasons. He had like 14 and a half sacks that year. I remember that. I was only 4 years old, but somehow I remember that. And then he went to San Francisco in 97, and then he came back in 98, 99. Actually, he had 15 sacks in 98. I remember that too. But no, I don't think they've ever retired his number. Kevin Green, Broski Bear. So it's funny that you say that. Luckily enough, you know, the unfortunate news here is, and I'll say this, like, unfortunately with this, you know, with the unfortunate thing is that we didn't get to see Nick Scorton out there. That's one of my big focuses, you know, going into this thing is like, I'm really going to be focused on these guys that I want to see. Like, I really want to see how Corey Thornton continues to turn heads, you know, going forward. I really want to see like how, you know, when we're going up against the Houston Texans, I want to see, you know, Scorton and Umamiel, you know, I want to see them continue to build on the, you know, from their preseason debuts that they have, right? So I'm hoping that even though we didn't get to see Scorton today, you know, maybe he can get back out there. I don't even know if they're practicing tomorrow. I'm assuming that they are, but it probably won't be where the media is allowed like they did here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're practicing tomorrow or not. I'm assuming they are. If anybody knows if they are practicing tomorrow, let me know. Brandon King comes in and says Nick over Pat is what I want. So we'll see. I mean, hey, Pat's making it today. Pat had a good day. So at the end of the day, I hear you, Brandon. I want it too. I want Nick Scorton over Pat too. But again, whoever is producing is who I want on the field. Whoever is giving me the most production, ladies and gentlemen, is who I want on the field. Plain and simple. Okay. I don't care who it is, as long as they're putting the production on the field, right? So that's all that matters to me at the end of the day. We got some good highlights here. Based off the highlights, guys, I mean, let me know what y'all are seeing, because here's some red zone from the offense. Bryce, touchdown. T-Mac. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, chat. Trying to put something together here. Up, and there is all the highlights. So shout out to Carolina Blitz, Vashti, for putting that together. At least giving us a little bit of something, you know. Again, we're not there. We don't have boots on the ground, but they do. So shout out to them. Someone must have messaged me, but I didn't see it. Let's see here. Also, CJ Stroud, man, just continues to show love to his boy. I've seen a dog come out of him. He's one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in my lifetime. So CJ Stroud giving some love, man. Giving some love out there for sure to his boy. But what up, Josiah? And for the love of God, before the season starts, Ransom, please take the safety spot from Scott. Exactly, Brandon King. Exactly. I can't agree. I can't agree more there. Honestly, Bryce is elite. I've seen enough. I've seen enough. What's up, Big Clay? So I'll say this. From today's training camp, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say this. The heating condition, the top 5 things I took away from this is that the heating condition test passed mostly. Obviously, Dave can only push the Panthers through grueling Texas heat to prepare them for Jacksonville week 1 humidity. We've got it here too, but hey, the hotter, the better. I know it sucks because like players like Nick Scorton got carted off the field with heat exhaustion. They gave him some water, IV. They even got him into one of the. They have this. It's basically what the Texans have. They have the same thing. It's a trailer. Super cold in there. So, but the offense finished strong despite the penalties. I mean, again, I think we need to work on the pre-snap penalties. It is a major concern because you start out. 1st and 15 or 2nd and 15 or 3rd and 20 with these pre-snap, penalties, they are drive killers. So we've got to, obviously finish that up, but the offense bounded to finish clean, efficiently. He had red zone touchdowns from Bryce and Andy Dalton. The defense generated multiple takeaways. I think the Panthers defense seemed like they were very aggressive today, producing red zone interception like we saw from Mike Jack. Of course, Nick Scott getting some. Plus, Chris Barnes, who we just signed and brought in here, had a pick as well. So also the pass rush stood out. You got Pat Jones recording 2 sacks out there on CJ Stroud. Practice sacks, but on CJ Stroud. Now the roster availability still is a little bit shaky for me, right? You got JC Horn still out, obviously, we all know because of the thumb. Jalen Coker had an illness today. You had Tre'von Wallace, who missed all or part of practice due to personal issues. So there's a lot of testing depth today, and when the coaching staff have to, shuffle up the lineup. But Young and the CJ Stroud rivalry it's always a spotlight, right? The joint practice was really highlighted. With the friendly yet competitive bond between these two top picks, right, in the 2023 draft. But both quarterbacks had highlight throws, red zone interceptions, reinforcing that their careers will continue to be measured side by side. I mean, that's just how it is. But I'll say this going forward, and I'm going to break this more down tomorrow night. When we talk about the Texans and the preview, what I expect, I'm just going to give you a short version, like real quick. I think on offense, I just want to see Bryce Young, get more reps behind this line, right? Obviously, with Corbett starting center, you got Cade Mays working at left guard. I'm assuming Christensen's probably getting some work there as well. So I want to see how that works. Obviously, with this wide receiver room, it's continued to be crowded and competitive. I want to see, Tedero McMillan continue to show those pro-level skills early. I want to see Jalen Coker make a strong case to continue for him to be physical and clutch plays as long as he's obviously feeling better. Again, the same thing with Xavier Legette. I just want to see him go out there and make plays. That's all Xavier Legette's got to do. Right. I think that will hush up all the bullshit behind him. You know what I mean? So, but I also going to keep a close eye on with Renfrow being back. Of course, Jimmy Horn Jr. too, because we all know about Jimmy Horn Jr. with his work ethic and how explosive he can be. We still have the offensive line still has some injury concerns with Lewis and Zavala, but we'll see how well they hold up against this Texans defensive front, because this Texans defensive front is nothing to joke with. All right. I mean, Danielle Hunter, and then you got, Will Anderson on the other side. Both of those guys win rates last year, by the way. You want to hear a cool stat? The Texans edge rushers. So Will Anderson win rate was ranked 7th among all edge rushers. And then Daniil Hunter was number 1 last year. So this is a tough defensive front to go up against. I would not sleep on them. Okay. As for defensively, again, if JC Horn's out, okay, I want to see Corey Thornton to continue to turn heads. Okay. And he's obviously going to be getting plenty of time to play with him out. Now, of course, I want to see Nick Scorton, Princely Mamiellen. I want them to continue to build off that promising preseason debuts we saw. And then JC Horn being sidelined. Again, we're going to be leaning on that depth, with the younger players to cover these Texan receivers. And then having Derek Brown is back at full strength, ready to put pressure on that offensive line. I want to see that as well. We'll probably see some more focus on special teams. The kicking job is still undecided between Matthew Wright and Ryan Fitzgerald. But the Panthers will likely emphasize kickoffs to limit return yardage. So it'll be interesting. But this training camp, this joint practice and game to me is all about evaluation, right? It's about sorting the battles at receiver, the offensive line, defensive backs, right? Key bubble players, looking who's going to rise up, who's not going to go down, right? So again, I expect a competitive physical game, really to focus more on on player performance than the scoreboard. Like for me, I'm looking at one-on-one performances. I'm not looking at the scoreboard. Just because the Browns beat us 30-10 doesn't mean jack shit to me. It's preseason. What I'm looking at are the one-on-one winners, the guys who are making plays, the guys out there who are, making plays no matter what position group or where they're at on the depth chart. I want to know who is out there making the most plays. So I'm not looking at the scoreboard. I'm looking at the one-on-ones. I think a lot of people sometimes when it comes to these preseason games and stuff like that, we're too focused on the scoreboard, whereas we need to be looking at the guys as individuals and who is sticking out the most, right? Who is making plays? Because right now we're trying to make this 53-man roster, and I want this group as a whole overall to fit in. That's what I'm looking at. Flame for Jesus with a $10 donation says, I hope we get to see all ones for at least first series against Houston. So Flame for Jesus, we're actually going to see the ones get more snaps in this game. They only played 2 series. They only played 2 series the last time. They're going to play 3, according to Dave Canales. Then maybe 4. He said maybe even 4. But I found an article that said Cleveland played only 2s and 3s against our first on offense. Yeah. So, but according to reports, Houston's going to be playing their starters, at least from my understanding. So, but we are going to be playing a series. I expect at least 3 series by the starters, at least 3. So we'll see. Again, the biggest thing I will be paying attention most to, like if I'm talking about one position group, the defensive line. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm going to be paying attention to that defensive line from starters to seconds to thirds, because I am really worried about this this run defense. I'm really worried about this run defense. So that's what I'm going to be looking into. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. What's up, Panthers guy? I'm here and just listening. I appreciate that. Hey, going back and forth from 99 the fan to here. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Austin Wright, I appreciate you even just listening in. Appreciate that a lot. Panthers have a lot of potential on offense and might be the worst defense in the league. Hopefully not. So big game for Damani to show up some run defense and O-line overall. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the offensive line, I'm going to be paying attention to Cade Mays at left guard for sure. Austin Wright, agree with you with the run defense. I'm going to be paying attention. That is number one to me. That is number one to me for sure. That is completely number one to me is run defense. That's for 1s, 2s, and 3s. Josiah, I say that too, but Lathan Ransom. Damani and Lathan Ransom, I'll be paying attention to them too. I want to see someone step up and really test Nick Scott for that position, man. I really do. Oh, wow. It don't matter, though. I'm not sure what you mean by that. SC Panthers 803. But yeah, I mean, for me, again, this is just an evaluation period right now. It's like I don't care about the scoreboard. Again, it's just like I said, I want to be watching the certain groups I will be watching cold hard, like as a group, but I'm also going to be looking for those individuals that step up, right? So, well, I don't know how Evero's confidence can be low right now. I mean, Evero, oh, here we go. So, I want to show this tweet real quick. So this is Jonathan Alexander. Let me zoom in. Oh, I'm zoomed in. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. There we go. He says 2 years ago. So actually, he tweeted this first. He goes, looking at some of the Texans defensive tweet, I actually think the Panthers offense is going to be solid this season. He's obviously he covers the Houston Texans. Okay. Watching their defense, it wasn't terrible. The Panthers aren't a bad team. It was good work for the Texans. Then he comes in and says this. Okay, understood. But then he says 2 years ago, I thought the Texans were clearly better than the Dolphins in joint practices. Nico was killing it. Then he goes, last year, I thought the Texans slightly better than the Rams in joint practices. And then this year with the Panthers, it felt a little more even. So this is a guy that's covering the Texans saying this. And he says it's even. And this is a Texans team the past 2 years that has gone with 10 wins, okay? Has gone with 10 wins the last 2 years and has won that AFC South division. So you take it as you will. Take it as you will. All right. Again, all I got to say is take it as you will. But again, this is about evaluation. This is more about testing, stress testing that roster. Like the offense handled the heat today. The defense showed grit, but not invincibility, right? Now the availability remains a concern heading into the second preseason game, but I feel like this team, though, even for something like for what we said, even for this team, though, man, maybe I feel like this team is built more on toughness and heart. But I will say Thursday did prove just how much more they've gotten better, but also how much more they can keep developing and how they can get better. I think they've proved today against a very good Texans team that's won 10 games back-to-back, made the playoffs, won their division, and this is a guy who covers them. So I think this, from a different perspective, as a guy who covers the Houston Texans, he's saying it's a little more even. You got to think about it. The Dolphins, what did the Dolphins do 2 years ago? Maybe I'm getting a little overhyped here, but what did the Dolphins do 2 years ago? If we go look at their their schedule 2023. They went, how many games they win? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That Dolphins team 2 years ago won 11 games. You know? And then the Rams last year. So we're going to put this into context, man. The Rams last year, they won how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They won 10 games. And that Rams team last year started out 1-4. So, again, I mean, that's huge coming from somebody who covers the opposing team and is giving us that much credit. I'm just saying. This is also from another, I think this is another beat writer for, looks like he's for ESPN. Must cover the Texans, I'm assuming. Yep. Here's his overall takeaways. Texans run game was shaky, so that's good news. Good amount of plays when the Panthers D was sticking into coverage during moving the ball periods. But again, Texans run game shaky. Bryce Young had some explosive completions to Leggett, Tedder, McMillan. Young had a good year. So, we've got, again, like I said, I felt like this joint practice, again, was about this team. Again, it's about there. I think this Panthers team is built on toughness. This is all about evaluation, stress testing your roster. And again, I think that from obviously having, these other beat reporters from other teams saying, hey, they're even with us. That's pretty big. That's better than what we've heard in the past. So, but shout out to Flame for Jesus with another $10 donation. He is just absolutely cooking it. He's absolutely cooking it. Where is my other one? I was trying to hit you with. Oh, here we go. Shout out to Flame for Jesus with that $10. Never been a fan of ever vibes from the Broncos. Yep. Okay, so we got progress. Exactly. Man, our linebacker group is terrible. We need another true Mike. Haven't had one since Luke. I mean, there's only a few guys out there left that they could go get. There's only a few guys out there they might be able to go get. And there's only like a few linebackers and maybe some trades. Like they might have to consider trading like somebody like an Alex Singleton, Chad Muma, or Troy Reader, somebody like that. That's the only way I think they're going to get anybody from a linebacker group. I know, Brandon. We need linebacker leadership. Tre'von needs to pan out. I think Tre'von's going to pan out. Chris Barnes made some plays today as well, right? And then you've still got Roseboom. So, didn't hear much about Roseboom. I mean, I saw some clips where it looked like he was getting some pressure Didn't see much of him dropping back into coverage or anything like that. Even from those clips we saw from Carolina Blitz, I didn't see much of him in it. Obviously, Tre'von Wallace, was out today, so we didn't hear much from him due to personal issues. And then, of course, but Chris Barnes made a play. He had a pick today, so that's some good news. But yeah, I get it. We definitely need some leadership. We definitely not necessarily leadership. I think Tre'von Wallace, I think Roseboom can bring that leadership that, from my understanding, he's very vocal. But I do understand what you're saying about, getting another guy in here for depth purposes. I get it. The Rob Star, let's go. Yeah, in the building for the Steelers game. I hear you, Dom 34. There you go. There you go. Nice. Guys, shout out to all you guys in the chat. Make sure you pound that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss any new content. I am working on getting some people on the show. I'm working on getting some of the beat writers on the show, so just be patient with that. I am working on trying to get some of these beat writers on the show, so be patient with that. And then hopefully we can start getting some more collaborations. We'll definitely have some more collaborations coming throughout the season. So be prepared for that, guys. Like, I'm going to have other team content creators on here due to obviously being part of Roundtable Sports. So that's the benefit of having that. So make sure you like and subscribe. Definitely going to have definitely working on getting some beat writers here. I've already talked to a couple of them. So hopefully we can get them on the show here soon. And really, to be honest with you, I got to give a shout out to What's Up Doug, because he kind of really inspired me to do that. So I'm going to try to get them on the show as well. So, Palmetto Panther, I actually was going to reach out to him today to talk to him about collabing on something. So stay tuned. That's all I got to say. Stay tuned. They should have drafted one. We needed another we needed another wide receiver more, according to our GM, but I'm still not sold on Dan Morgan. Play for Jesus, I get it. I think that we should have got a linebacker too. Not necessarily. I mean, I'm okay with getting Tedero McMillan in where he was at, but I thought that maybe we could have gotten a linebacker in here, or if they weren't going to go in the draft and do it. Another thing I was playing for Jesus, I could have said that they should have signed Jermaine Pratt. But I feel you on that, Flame for Jesus. I get it. I'm not. I like what Dan Morgan's done so far. Again, the only thing, I'm going to give you my gripe, Flame for Jesus. The only thing I'm griping about this offseason with Dan Morgan is this. Not necessarily the linebacker room. It has to do with the linebacker room. What my biggest gripe is with the linebacker room, Flame for Jesus, is this. Is that why were we not monitoring Josie Jewell's concussion closer, the concussion symptoms closer, knowing that he was having this? Why wasn't there a plan B for him? Same thing for Jack Thompson. If you knew you were going to release him and cut ties with that, why wasn't there a plan B for him? Because then you are just left, because you couldn't tell me, no offense to Christian Roseboom, he is a fringe starter at best. And I've said this multiple times on the show, and I think my audience has probably heard me say it too many times, but Roseboom's a fringe starter at best. Yes, he started 13 games. Yes, he had over 100 or 11 games, what it was last year. I think it was 11 or 13, whatever it was. Anyways, had over 100 and something tackles. That's great and all. But he's been a rotational linebacker his whole career. So you're telling me the insurance policy for both of those guys, even though you lost two, so you only had really a one insurance policy for one. Now, I think Chris Barnes, guys, I would not sleep on Chris Barnes. Chris Barnes has got some burn. He's got some experience. He made some plays today. So that's some good news. But the only thing from my gripe from the linebacker standpoint is that you knew that you weren't going to bring back Shaq Thompson, and you did not monitor Josie Jewell's. To me, in my opinion, they didn't monitor Josie Jewell's concussion close enough. Because if you did, you would have had a backup plan or an insurance plan for both of them. I still expect Wallace to step up this year. I think he will. I think he's one of those players that could end up breaking out. But again, we shall see. We shall see. Hopefully they can get something off of waiver wires, man. Like, I mean, at this point, they either going to have to make a trade or they're going to go waiver wire for that linebacker. For that linebacker room. So drafting a good linebacker with a shitty defensive coordinator is kind of pointless, right? Basically, Jeff, I mean, I get that point too. Y'all are making some good points in the chat. I can't defend. I can't defend Evero, and I can't disagree with the fact of getting a good linebacker. But at the same time, you could also make the case that Evero needs the talent. I don't know, man. It's a complicated situation because, again, I said it before, Jeff R. It's like last year, my issue was that the lack of adjustments, the complex 3-4 scheme. He wasn't making the adjustments for this roster. You know, with the scheme, he kept J.C. Horn on one side of the field instead of having him on the best receiver of the opposing team. You know, and then he's got his edge rushers dropping back into coverage on certain plays. You know, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I hear you, though. I hear you. Yeah, but you can't expect him just to be that guy when you have a fringe starter at best alongside him. Because he's going to need more help than just some fringe starter, even if he ends up being that guy, you know? Yeah, I don't know why Evero loves him some Nick Scott, but it is what it is. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to hop off of here. I will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night. Don't know the live time yet, but I will be live tomorrow, probably at 8 o'clock. It's probably going to be an 8 p.m. show tomorrow night. So make sure you guys tune in. You know, make sure you guys tune in. 8 p.m. tomorrow night, I'm going to give you my breakdown, preview, and prediction for the preseason game week 2 versus the Houston Texans. I'll be breaking it all down tomorrow night, so make sure you guys come in, tune in. And again, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on those collaborations coming up. Other than that, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Keep pounding. I'm out. Peace.